Good evening again, America. Tonight, we bring you a special edition of the Spotlight as we dissect one of the most high-stakes battles for state supremacy in America, a race that saw not only political ideologies clash, but the world's richest man throwing his weight behind a candidate in a crucial Supreme Court race. Our story tonight begins in the heart of Wisconsin, a state that has long been a bellwether for American politics. With its notoriously tight races, every vote counts, and this race was no exception. But this time, it wasn't just the usual political forces at play. This time, Elon Musk, billionaire entrepreneur and CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, became one of the key players. His involvement was far from subtle. Musk poured a jaw-dropping $25 million into the race, backing conservative candidate Brad Schimmel. And if that wasn't enough, he didn't stop at just funding the campaign. Musk took to the stage, campaigning personally in Wisconsin, drawing attention with his larger-than-life persona. And yes, the infamous cheesehead hat. It's safe to say, Musk was determined to make his mark. But, as we now know, his efforts weren't enough.
Looking at the facts, it seems Musk didn't quite understand the dynamics of Wisconsin's electorate. His message of civilization's destiny rang hollow for many voters. People didn't appreciate having their state turned into a political battleground fueled by a billionaire's wallet. Musk's involvement gave the race a personal dimension, and ironically, it backfired.
And backfire it did. Susan Crawford, the Democrat-backed candidate, secured an impressive 10-point victory, delivering a crushing blow not only to Musk, but also to former President Trump, who had thrown his full support behind Schimmel.
Exactly. This wasn't just a defeat for a candidate. It was a repudiation of Musk's attempt to buy Wisconsin's Supreme Court seat. It was a clear message to the political elite. No matter how much money you throw at it, the people will have their say.
So, what made this race so extraordinary? We've seen campaigns go all out before, but this one was different. With Musk's millions backing Schimmel, the ads and media blitz were nonstop. Brad Schimmel's campaign had all the resources, all the backing, but it wasn't enough to win the hearts and minds of Wisconsin voters.
Jordan, in political campaigns, money doesn't always equal victory. You can have the biggest ad buys, the flashiest campaigns, but at the end of the day, it's about connecting with the people. Musk's support of Schimmel alienated a lot of Wisconsinites. They didn't want to see their state turned into a political chessboard for billionaires.
Let's take a moment to discuss the media strategy here. Musk's camp went all in with ads painting Crawford as a threat to freedom, while Schimmel was portrayed as the defender of conservative values. But when it came to the debates, things took a turn.
Right, Jordan. The debates highlighted just how out of touch Schimmel seemed with Wisconsin's working-class voters. He came across as too polished, too much of a political insider. Crawford, on the other hand, made her case as a judge who would fight for fairness and justice in the state. She wasn't trying to impress the billionaires. She was speaking directly to the people.
And speaking of the people, the voter turnout was massive. More than 2.3 million people turned out for this election, the highest in Wisconsin's recent history. And it wasn't just the Democrats who showed up in force. Republicans also came out, but they weren't backing Schimmel as strongly as Musk had hoped.
That's right. The turnout was huge, and it reflected a deep-seated frustration with what Musk represented. It wasn't just about political party lines. This was about voters feeling like they had a say in the direction of their state, without being drowned out by billionaire influence.
Now let's talk about the fallout. This wasn't just a defeat for Musk and Schimmel. It was a serious setback for Donald Trump as well. As we mentioned earlier, Trump threw his full support behind Schimmel. But when the results came in, it wasn't just Musk who was left licking his wounds.
It's clear that Trump's endorsement didn't have the same power it once did. Voters saw through the efforts of both Musk and Trump, and the message they sent was loud and clear: we're not for sale. And for many Republicans, this was a wake-up call.
That's right. Some Republican insiders are privately celebrating the outcome. For them, this wasn't just about losing an election. It was about sending a message to Musk. They want to take him down a peg, and they want Trump to understand that his political influence is not invincible.
Musk's influence in Washington is real, but it's also becoming clear that it's not as invulnerable as people thought. He's made himself a target, and now Republicans are realizing they might not need him as much as they once thought.
Well, there you have it. A critical election, an unexpected outcome, and a political shift that could have long-lasting effects. As we look toward the 2024 elections, this race may prove to be a pivotal moment in the larger battle for the White House. For now, it's back to the drawing board for Musk, Trump, and their political allies. Let's take a deeper dive into what voters on the ground were really feeling during this election. Wisconsin isn't just any state. It's a place where every vote counts, and every swing in political favor could mean the difference between victory and defeat. To understand the significance of Susan Crawford's win, we need to hear from the voters themselves. Were they really voting based on ideology, or was it more about rejecting billionaire influence?
I'll tell you, Jordan, for a lot of us, it wasn't just about the politics. Sure, we care about the issues, but Musk's money coming in here trying to buy this race really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Wisconsin has always prided itself on being independent, and this just didn't sit right. We've got our own minds, and we don't want billionaires trying to make decisions for us.
It's powerful to hear that, Dave. And it really speaks to the frustration that many voters feel when big money tries to influence their elections. But let's zoom out a little and bring in some analysts who have been tracking this election from the very beginning.
Thanks, Jordan. What's striking about this race is the way it turned into a referendum on power. Musk isn't just a businessman, he's a political force now. His heavy-handed approach in trying to sway an entire state felt like an attack on the very principles of democracy. It's one thing to have an election shaped by ideas and policies, but when it's all about money, that's when the people start to feel like they're being manipulated.
That's an important point, Amy. We saw a backlash not just from Democrats, but also from Republicans who were not thrilled with Musk's involvement. Some felt that his outsized influence was actually hurting their chances in Wisconsin.
Absolutely, Jordan. A lot of Republican strategists behind the scenes were quietly hoping for a loss in this race. Many saw Musk as a liability. It's not just that Musk was spending millions. It's the fact that he was positioning himself as the ultimate kingmaker. For many Republicans in Washington, they wanted Musk to learn that there are limits to how much influence a billionaire can have, especially when it's not in line with their party's interests.
Such a fascinating perspective. It's clear that Musk's political machinations didn't just impact Wisconsin voters. It sent ripples through the broader political ecosystem. And even more interesting is the role of social media in this entire battle. Musk, with his platform X, formerly Twitter, could have used his influence to sway public opinion, but instead, it became a focal point of criticism. Looking ahead, how will this result influence the political landscape as we approach the 2024 elections? Could Wisconsin's Supreme Court race be an early indicator of what's to come in the presidential election? Will this outcome change the way candidates approach campaigning in swing states?
Jordan, Wisconsin is a bellwether state. We've seen time and time again how it can swing the tide in a presidential election. And what happened here with Crawford's victory is a stark reminder that money can only go so far. At the end of the day, it's the message, the connection to the people, and the grassroots energy that wins out. And I think that's a lesson that Democrats will be taking to heart as we move into 2024. Absolutely, Claire. And let's not forget the bigger picture here. This wasn't just a loss for Musk. It was a signal to both Democrats and Republicans alike. Voters are tired of being treated as pawns in a high-stakes political game played by the rich and powerful. This will impact how future campaigns are run. No one can afford to take voters for granted, and no one can simply buy their way into office anymore.
So, we're looking at a shift in how campaigns are run, especially in battleground states like Wisconsin. But it's also worth considering the broader implications for Elon Musk's role in politics moving forward. Will he continue to wield his influence as a political donor, or is his time in the political spotlight starting to fade?